No, of course,
I
going
think.
forward, AI-backed these trackers will help a lot, not only in education sector but
Mm,
even in e-commerce sector. Sir, I think we have a question from Sahashini,
yeah.
and the question is from classroom to computer. How has the change in learning affected
Yeah.
students' mindset?
Mindset, mindset, like, okay, so it's a big question, and mindset is actually the most difficult thing to change. Okay, you can actually dismantle an architect, you can actually, it's very easy to say that to dismantle the classroom and the walls, but it's more difficult, it's much more difficult is dismantling the mindset. My experience, however, my experience with my students is when actually they are more open, they are actually, they are exposed to technology and they find they were very interactive, and it didn't take much, too much, too long for me to change the mindset. And because maybe because we in my institution, maybe they are exposed, most of the students are exposed to cutting edge technology, and we use a lot of technology as part of our they use a lot of technology as part of their learning process. And we also, some of us, we also use a lot of technology in teaching process as well. So I cannot answer for other topics, other subjects. I don't know how students are going to react if I teach science or something which I'm not good at, or math or English language. If somebody teaches that, but this is tremendously, this is the adaptation. Actually, we teachers, we underestimate the students. Actually, they are more adaptable and they're quick to learn, quick learners than a lot of professors. I have to be very honest with this, because to be very honest with you, to tell you the truth, they adapted. My students, they are more adaptable. They are actually adapted faster than some of us, our teachers, including myself.
Okay, sir, you are for a professional course. I'm not sure
Mhm.
whether you will be able to throw some light on primary education. Can I ask something?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
So I'm saying World Health Organization
Because Mhm.
guidance says that those aged 3 to 4 should spend only maximum half an hour at a time in
Mhm.
front of the screen, I mean to say, to be very specific.
Yeah.
So for primary school education, what non-screen activities can be done at home when we're talking about
Yeah.
online education?
Yeah, like I said, this is not going to replace the physical classroom entirely. I said a blend of it. Okay. And one another thing is, of course, this is one of the downsides, because it's not a good idea to expose children, not only primary, up to say it's 10, 15 years, it's always, because there is a downside, you get hooked to internet, this whole rabbit hole of internet, that is another thing, you have to be wary of. But the teachers will have to find a balance, it's it's a challenge for us. I don't have an answer to straightforward answer to this. It's a huge challenge, because my experience is teaching small children is actually more challenging and more difficult than teaching, because my wife teaches children, very small children. And I think I don't know how she's coping with it and how she's actually able to do this, because I find it extremely challenging. Than because I teach adults and it's very easy to communicate with adults. But children, you can't get angry, and there is a point of you have to be you have to be like them. This challenge is much more challenging. And when you bring technology, when you throw technology into that mix, it's going to be more challenging, even more challenging. And it's up to us, it's up to teachers to strike the right balance between technology and that physical classrooms. And there's got to be a blend, a clever blend between these two. I think games are very engaging for students and for young children to actually get something across. Yeah,
Right.
that's going to be a challenge. Yes.
Sir, a very basic question. I think we have another question from Shruti. Do you
Yes.
think for students, online study has shown more retention of information comparatively to normal classes? If so, how?
No, no, it's too early to say that, Shruti, because we just started this, because the corona has just come here and we don't know how long this is. It's going to take some time, at least a couple of years before anybody can answer that question. Whether I can't answer for sure that, say if you teach for somebody for a week or 2 weeks online and say that, aha, these people are much more engaging than others. So it will take some time before actually somebody can answer that question. And there will have to be a lot of studies and on again different topics again, because some of the topics will be more the retention will be more, and then some of the topics, because it will be difficult. So I think it's too early to answer that question, because in this country and a lot of other countries too, online teaching and learning is relatively it's a quite new experience. It just started, and I don't think it's a good idea to answer this now, right now,
At this stage, so early,
at this stage,
at this stage.
because we are all new to this.
Right, sir, not all teachers got the privilege to get that education which you got. Right, so most of the teachers are facing what to say, e-learning. This difficulty is lack
Mhm.
of or difficulty of appropriate skills to operate the internet. How long can we take to solve this problem? Unless they are clear, how can they teach on such platforms?
Yeah, how do people overcome this inhibition? I think it's just it's just an inhibition. It's a human nature that is when you've been doing something for say far too long, say 10 years, 15 years, you get to a sense of a sense of security and the safety in that zone, in your private zone. Okay, I've been doing something in a very comfort. That is a comfort zone. But unfortunately, I think if I'm talking about my colleagues, they are all super excited about this. A lot of people, they also. I don't find that in my college, that kind of resistance, because maybe they are also more exposed to technology, and they're also adapting faster than other schools. But in other schools, my advice, actually not my advice. I can't advise teachers for that, because what I have to tell you is, try that. This is a new experience. So it takes, it takes some time to actually it's very easy to explain to them once you show them. So in order to, it depends on who's telling them how remote learning works. And let me, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you that it is super easy. It's very, very easy. And this is one thing that makes teaching fun. So rather than just spending your time talking and non-stop, just relentlessly talking for hours in the classroom, and when the students, they fall asleep, you get angry, you jump at people, and when you get into online, and it's also a learning process for us. It makes teaching more fun and more exciting. And once you show them how to do this, it takes only a few minutes to show them how this
Right,
is
sir.
done. So rather than trying to explain this in theory, if you show them in part practical, in practice, how do you show them? Okay, this is okay. You be my student. Let me teach you something. And in 2, 3 minutes and into 5 minutes, you can actually get a lot of people overcome this inhibition. I think it's just a mental block, and it's very easy. I don't see this as the problem. And if you have proper trainers, so what it requires is you need to have trainers, people to train the trainers, teach the teachers, for
Absolutely.
example.
Train the trainers.
Mm. So it depends on the
Great.
participant. It depends on the instructors as well. So there is no uniform. The answer is there is no uniform scale or a benchmark to actually to give that ranking. And I don't believe in this ranking business at all.
Sir, we have many visitors from across the world, I think. So these names are too new to us. Thank you, sir. Fine. So I think Miss Anita Rachi Baheti, welcome to Turiya Talks.
Hello,
Uh,
Anita.
how can a practical field like a journalism be taught online?
Yeah,
Because
very, very
journalism is
good,
online,
Anita.
no?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, thank you very much. That good that you asked that question, because I've been actually struggling to. I've struggled with that a lot, because I do, I do very, very hands-on thing. In ACJ, we do only hands-on thing. We don't do much theories. It's all about, just parting you the skill set, giving the skill set, and day one you're ready to actually work. And we are more into the hands-on experience, the practical. So I wondered, how on earth am I going to do this? Because we are talking about not just teaching somebody to write well, or not only that also we do that. In my area, I do very, very technical things. For example, virtual reality storytelling. You're talking about augmented reality storytelling. You're talking about gamification. how to create a news game. You're talking about artificial intelligence. You're talking about data storytelling, and these are very highly technical things. Okay, for example, how to edit a video, how to edit a podcast, and it's very my experience with that is super exciting and for the students as well, because I can share the screen and I can show how I edit an audio, I edit a video, and how do I create an AR experience, or how I create a virtual reality experience by sharing my screen. And when you are a student, if you are a student, you get to see on your phone or your device. It's as if it's a one-on-one conversation. It's as if I'm teaching you alone. And that one-on-one experience is incredibly more powerful than sitting in a classroom. This is one of my
Seriously.
experiences.
Sir, if we keep on talking, no, I think we'll spend the entire night by answering so many questions.
No praise, sir. Actually, this is
Right.
more interactive than me talking. This is well, this again to share. This is one of the experiences of online teaching. Because it's more
Right.
engaging.
Right.
So if I were addressing people, in a big hall, I don't think these people like Shivam, people like other who have asked me questions, they would have actually asked me the question. Thank you, Shivam. So, your question is after normalcy stands, should teachers use online mode as an effective tool in schools? I think I already answered the question. Yes, my answer is yes. It's time we transform. It's time to move on, because it's not that just we had a pandemic in the country or around the world. It's a new frontier, and this new frontier of education, like I said, it's an opportunity to think as an opportunity, not as COVID, not as something that brought about a very hard, difficult learning curve brought about by the pandemic. Take it as an opportunity to expand our own skill set as teachers, and to reach out to more students, and to engage with our most student community, and to actually share that knowledge beyond, across the borders, not in Chennai, not in Calcutta, not in Delhi in one classroom, but the ability to actually to transfer your knowledge, that share your knowledge across the borders. I think that's incredibly exciting from a teacher's point of view, and I think it should be more exciting for the students to answer that. I can't answer for the students.
Right. Sir, one more question.
Yeah, Zoom and other online some securities like database. So please tell us about Zoom and other. Adityan, thank you for the question. Actually, good that you asked the question, because mm, let me tell you something about you have to define privacy here, because one of the downside of digital world is the moment you started using social media, you already compromise your privacy. And the moment you started using a mobile device, smartphone, you already compromised your privacy. And this data thing, because I don't think so. Looking at the when you weigh the advantage, the cost benefit, the benefit that you get from Zoom, or any modern technology, with the what some little sacrifices you have to actually do. I see the benefit. The benefits way more. So Zoom, I had this conversation because when I started using Zoom, the features were pretty. It was some time back, and Zoom, the features were very pretty basic. And now the growth of Zoom. From 10 million now they just crossed 300 million, I guess. And I had a very interesting conversation a couple of days ago, like I said earlier, with the Zoom people. And there was no, now you can, the privacy we are talking about was, there was this initial glitches which was called Zoom bombing, that people, uninvited people were able to crash into your meetings and do stuff and disrupt the room, disrupt the meeting. Now they have features for that. They have tightened security features. Now you have a waiting room for Zoom. Like this platform has a waiting room. The admin has to admit that person, and you can also log the meeting. So those are the security things. When you're doing a Zoom. And about data breach, other thing I don't think now we can complain about data breach anymore, because we all use social media for free. We use Facebook for free. We use Twitter for free, and we use a lot of platforms for free. And when you're making use of them, you cannot demand certain privacy for you, because you're using free. So you can't. My answer is you cannot have the cake and eat the cake and have it too. So you have to actually balance it. Either what do you want security? If you want security, then don't get on these platforms, because they're offering something free. Then just because they're offering something for free.
We
It's been a
can,
pleasure.
Saikat, we have one question from him.
Yes, Shaikha, this is, I think I already answered this question because a lot of, if you look at the online platforms, a lot of programs are for free. Because if you look at Coursera, if you look at the Udemy, go now, a lot of them are, as we speak, I'm taking three programs, three free, actually, online programs. I just do that because they are free. So there are a lot of things, and even others, they're not that expensive because some of the programs, they have heavy, huge discounts. Say 12,000, something that costs something that they charge normally charge 12,000. Now they are charging for 400, 340 rupees and 400 rupees. And these are actually they are actually not that expensive. So it's going to be you can look for the free courses as well as the paid ones. And paid ones are not that expensive, not very expensive. I
Right, sir.
hope that answers your question.
Big fan of Devadas, sir. Wish to meet him Sunday. Right. Meeting is
It's
not
on.
possible because sir is always traveling. Fine. Oh, yeah, very, very inspiring, sir. Seriously. Going
Thank you so
forward,
much.
we feel that we'll have many, many strategies for online teaching in the age of post-coronavirus, and all the stakeholders will come together and they will support students also when we talk about online education. Thank you, sir, for this interesting session. Now, in the next
Thank you for having me.
episode, which we have next Tuesday, which is season one, sixth edition of Turiya Talks, delve deep
Mhm.
into the interesting topic of internet governance. Our next guest
No,
with Mr. Anupam Agarwal. He is the chair
I'll
of
definitely watch you.
India Internet Foundation, I mean to say. Of course, he'll be in conversation with me. Uh, if you have any other
I'm
observations,
looking
sir,
forward to
please.
that.
Right. Fine.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to your future talks.
Right, sir.